And we are back on with the Lone Ranger and Cleve Loveland, Central Florida's voice of real estate. We've got a couple listings here real quick I want to go over with you because these will probably be sold by the time we finish this show. No, just kidding.
They might be.
I'm teasing these because a couple of them aren't even, they're going on the market. But I've got 2 acres in Eustis, 3,000 square feet for $635, no HOA, massive home on 2 acres, gated property. I've got a condominium in Winter Park for $398.
Well, wait a minute. How much is the first one you just said?
$635.
Okay,
$635.
And you have how many acres?
That's on 2 acres, no HOA.
And how many square feet is that?
3,000 square foot home.
It's a big house.
Yep. And then I've got Spring Oaks. Now this is your starter home in Orlando. This is a house. It's funny because these people bought it 3 years ago for $260, $259. This is gonna go on the market at $330 and be gone.
Now, is that Orlando or is that Altamont?
This is Altamont. I will have multiple offers on this in Spring Oaks. Nice ranch.
You sold another one in there recently.
I just did. So this was a little smaller. That one went for $350. And then I've got a duplex. You want to talk about getting smart and building your wealth? You can live in one side. Most people won't do it. This is in Winter Park, right next to Whole Foods. Okay. This Whole Foods popped up right behind this property, and the values just skyrocketed. The rents are skyrocketing. And it's $470,000 for two bedroom, 1 bath units.
What could you get for each of those sides?
Right now we get $1,350 on one, and probably dressed up a little more. Probably get $1,500, $1,600.
Okay.
I mean, it's just the area. It's just rents are exploding right now, just like prices are. Well,
so here's the thing I like about that: you could get into that home for little money down. If you lived in one side, you can buy it as your primary, use the subject property rent to help you qualify.
Yep.
And then as long as you live in it for at least 1 year, you could rent the other side and go buy it.
Sounds familiar.
There's your leapfrog program.
That sounds familiar, Bruce. So
it does.
Tell us about. We got time. Tell us about new construction real quick.
I will. Before I do that, I want it because there's something important. But if you have a question for Cleve and you want him to look at your listing, call him at 407-352-8118 or go to cleveloveland.com. Or you can always check with me. I'll run the financing for you, let you know what you're qualified for. I've got an amazing team of folks that'll help you 7 days a week, 407-250-9144 or webringyouhome.com. So, Cleve, I was reading the numbers when I saw that housing prices in Central Florida had dropped by $2,000. I almost fell off my chair. Like, that is like non-news.
I'm surprised that wasn't like on every headline on every TV station.
Right. It wasn't on CNN, right? But then right after that, I got the new housing report. So this is new construction because a lot of new construction.
I need that. I've been trying to find those numbers forever.
Well, a lot of new construction doesn't show up in MLS.
No, it's not in MLS,
which doesn't report in those numbers.
Yep.
So here was what was fascinating. New construction rose by just under 100,000 extra homes in 1 month.
This is the country.
This is nationally.
Nationally.
So they went from 702,000 to $801,000. So that was that's a 1 month
increase. Is that
increase.
Closed or permits pulled?
You know what? It said new housing starts. So I'm
they're
assuming
started. They're done. They're coming out.
Or they're under contract. It could be closings. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you I know, but I'll pull it up when we get off the air and you can look at it.
Well, that's good. I mean, because about not a third, probably 25% of our market in Central Florida, maybe less, is I think maybe 20% is new homes.
I'd say so.
Selling.
Right now, it might even be higher than that.
Well, it's probably lower right now because I can't supply them, and that's what's driving the resale prices
up.
Well,
I got to tell you, my friends at Hanover Family Builders, and if you want a great builder, family-owned company, listen, they wrote 100 contracts last month. 100 contracts last month on their new construction. You tell me builders aren't opening up. I talked to my friend Matt Oros, who's one of the owners of Hanover Family Builders, and he's like, dude, we are going to open up the floodgate, and guess what you get? If you buy a home at Hanover, they pay your closing costs for you by using my
They got some great new developments. I passed a couple of their signs last week.
18 developments right now, and they're opening up, I think, 4 more, and it's all in Central Florida. Like it's from St. Cloud, Davenport, all the way to, we got Celery Oaks over there in Sanford.
Well, I saw one right on the edge of Orange County, Mount Dora, probably a Mount Dora address, but it's Orange County. That's the last piece of land undeveloped, just west of the 429, which is blowing up. The whole 429 circle all the way up to I-4, that's going to get all built on. And then this is like the last piece of land out 441 between Mount Dora. So you're 10 minutes from Orlando and 10 minutes from Mount Dora.
We'll be back in 5 minutes with more of Cleve, Loveland, and the Lone Ranger Radio Show.